We're seeing the formation of an economic civil war in our country, and it's centering around property taxes. I'm Tyrone Keys. Now, the first thing I want you to understand is what a property tax is. Essentially, it is a tax on unrealized capital gains. So you're being taxed on that house even though you have not sold it. Let's say you go through the entire year and you don't do any cash out refinances or anything like that. You're just living in there, paying your mortgage, but you're still being assessed taxation. That is the very definition of an unrealized capital gain, as that property, which most properties do, appreciates in value, because you get reassessed on your taxes if you make an improvement to the property, or just as time goes on, typically, right? Well, people are starting to push back because property taxes are getting outrageous, and we've got mayors in certain cities that are looking at the citizens as nothing more than piggy banks, okay, that they can tap into every time they want to initiate some program that isn't going to benefit we the people. So let's start out here in Chicago. Um, no, actually, let's start with Mamdani, and he's raising taxes by 10%. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Mayor Mamdani is saying that if the state doesn't tax the rich, they'll have to raise property tax here in the city.
And as political reporter Marcia Kramer explains, it's all part of his new spending plan that he calls a last resort.
But I want to be clear. $5.4 billion is still a very steep mountain to climb.
In laying out his $127 billion fiscal plan that, despite the gap, increases spending by over $14 billion, the mayor offered a strategy that offers Governor Hochul and state lawmakers a Hobson's choice. Either pass election year tax hikes on the rich and corporations, or he will raise property taxes on everyone, homeowners, building owners, and corporations that own property here.
Now, you got to understand what he did was increase their budget by $14 billion. He wants to spend an additional $14 billion over what Eric Adams was spending in the last mayoral administration in New York. And the way he's going to pay for it is by either holding New Yorkers hostage in terms of threatening to raise their taxes, unless Kathy Hochul, the governor, follows suit, or just out and out raising their taxes by 10% on everyone, as you heard in that report. So this is just outrageous because, in terms of taxation, the more money that you're obligated to pay in local, state, federal taxes, that means the less money you have to invest in yourself, in your family, in your retirement. We've got one prominent Democrat, Muriel Bowser, the mayor of Washington, D.C., who is cautioning against such an approach. And I think she's very wise to do so. So let's hear from Mayor Muriel Bowser.
I do not think we should be raising property taxes. Okay. And so this is something for us to watch in this budget process. I just heard the mayor of New York City propose raising property taxes on everybody in New York City. Sometimes these ideas trickle down here. So make sure that when you are talking to members of the council that you tell them you do not want them to raise your property taxes.
Okay. Now, property taxes also have the effect because, again, more money's leaving your pocket going to the government. Okay. And I firmly believe that you, as an individual, as the head of your family or a member of your family, you guys know what to do with your money better than a politician does. But there's an macroeconomic principle also that shows that money flows to where it is treated best. And that is about to happen in the case of New York. Mamdani's corporate tax push could cause an exodus to New Jersey. This is according to one businessman in the area, Mayor Zohran Mamdani. His push to hike New York's corporate tax, if enacted, could raise an exodus of firms and residents across the Hudson to New Jersey. Now, this is the corporate tax, but again, these are corporations. They have money. They're highly mobile, right? You're going to see the same type of exodus in individuals. and families who are going to say, no, this is getting to be too burdensome. I've got to get out of here. Quote, I don't think the tax conversation is productive because we are going to be 100% higher than New Jersey if we take that proposal. New Jersey's current corporate tax rate is 11%. If we do what the mayor has recommended, it will be 22%, 100% over New Jersey. This is according to Steve Fulop. He is the CEO of the Partnership for the City of New York. Okay. So business leaders understand it. And what happens when businesses leave an area? Not only does it erode the tax base, but jobs leave too, right? And unless you're willing to go wherever the job is going, if they give you the option to do that. Now, not to be outdone, we've seen the same sort of thing occur up in Chicago. Listen to these Chicago residents and what they're dealing with in terms of property taxes.
Now to Chicago's west side. Pastors and homeowners there say they're being hit with property tax increases so steep they could push families out of their homes. Bills have doubled, even tripled, with the West Garfield Park neighborhood seeing a 133% spike. NBC5's Christian Farr has their story.
I've had to go out and hustle, put my life on the line, drive an Uber just to pay my property tax.
Many Westside residents and clergy gathered outside of the Cook County Assessor's office to express outrage after their property tax bills skyrocketed. Business owner Malcolm Crawford said his bill more than doubled.
It's just a few bills that I got, and this one is $11,000. This one is $12,000. The other ones are $7,000, and I have more. And with these, and I'm supposed to come up with this money by the 15th. You have the poorest people in the poorest neighborhoods with the largest increase.
But Democrats will tell you that they're only going to tax the rich. Again, the rich have the highest mobility. They can get out of Dodge and avoid the taxation. Now we see that what has happened in Chicago is a lot of businesses have left the city, all right, because of crime, because of the fiscal situation. And now the economic burden is left with the very people who supported Mayor Brandon Johnson. Now he's turned around and he's raising taxes on them. So listen, when you think about your vote, understand what that vote is. That is not a tool to redress past injustices. What your vote is an economic tool. It is designed to help you prosper economically, to enjoy the fullness of your life, liberty, and assist you in pursuing happiness.
The Reverend Marshall Hatch and others say communities like West Garfield Park face a 133% increase in their property taxes. Last month, the Cook County Treasurer's Office confirmed that this would be the largest property tax increase in 30 years.
We are just as upset and believe that it's unjust that the Board of Review continues to shift on the burden to homeowners in particular by giving large reductions and breaks to commercial businesses in the loop.
The Assessor's Office is pointing the finger at the Cook.
Well, they got to give those commercial businesses some incentive to stay, because again, they create jobs. But you're even seeing pushback from Democrats. Now, the flip side of this is there are states, because money flows to where it's treated best, and some people know this, and so they want to attract a larger population because that means more money for that state. So let's take a look at what has recently occurred in Florida with one aspect of the property tax down there.
Time for us understanding for the House chambers here inside the state capitol. Well, it took about a year, but we do finally have a property tax reform idea that is headed over to the Senate. The House passing a sweeping measure earlier in the day, but that doesn't mean it's a done deal. Oh, no, far from it. After a year or so of meetings, memos, and political maneuvering,
80 yeas, 30 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes.
The Florida House approved its plan to eliminate property taxes on homesteaded properties, excluding school taxes, and send the question to voters.
Floridians asked us to come up here to spend less money, to reduce the size of state budgets. And I'm so proud that for the second year in a row, we have proposed to do just that.
It's the most dramatic plan from the House's slate of ideas.
The way we passed it today is the faucet immediately goes off.
Rep. Overdorf, who helped shepherd the ideas, backs it as the House's best foot forward.
Well, we've been studying this for a year. We've been looking at this for a year. We have our data points. The House, as I said in there, the House is ready. And we have the ability to put forward meaningful reform, and that's what we're proposing to do.
All right. So the homesteader tax, the House, at least down in Florida, has moved to eliminate that. It's got to go through the Senate. The governor's got to sign it. So it's got a long way to go. However, the philosophy is there. There's no reason why governments should be operating with huge surpluses. If a government has a surplus, it means that the people have paid too much in the way of taxes. So you heard that they have a carve out there for schools. Bottom line is government's going to have to learn to live within their means if we, the people, are going to get some taxation relief. Because taken to the furthest extent, I mean, the way these governments in some of these states and the federal government are spending money, in 10 years, will we have 10% of our income to call our own? All right, I'm Tyrone Keys. I'll talk to you guys soon.